Welcome to Toastmaster Time, the show that has everybody talking. My name is Steve today, and for tonight's episode, I will be your host. Now, with all Toastmasters meetings, we have prepared speeches, and the speeches are evaluated so the speaker gets a feedback, and the speech will be even better the next time they give it. Tonight's evaluator will be Tracy Holmes. Tracy, could you tell us what we can expect from tonight's show tonight?
Certainly. Ron will describe how being a victim of bullying when he was young helped him to identify it as an adult. Michelle will share 3 practices to alleviate the holiday blues after a major life change. Finally, Jesse will describe visiting Santa Claus with his sister back in the 1950s. Back to you, Steve.
Well, Tracy, it sounds like we're going to have a fantastic show, and we look forward to hearing from you later. Let's get started. We have our first speaker, and that would be Ron Fitch. Ron, welcome to Toastmaster Time.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you being here, and you're going to give a speech tonight. It's going to be about 5 or 6 minutes. You're not going to have any notes. Can you tell us how you prepare, practice, and get comfortable in delivering the speech?
Well, each speech is different, but this speech on bullying, I heard Darren Tay talk about bullying several years ago, and it resonated with me because it happened to me. So I decided I wanted to come up with a flow on the bullying concept. I have been rehearsing this speech for my club, the Alameda Tongue Twisters, for several weeks. They've been hearing me do it again and again and again, and they've been giving me good feedback. And that's what you're going to see tonight.
Well, that's great. So you've perfected it over the past year.
At least, yeah, I was in the speech contest with this early this year. One of our other speakers was better than I was, but I liked the bullying concept, so I decided I wanted to try it again.
All right. Well, you ready to give your speech tonight?
Absolutely.
All right. Terrific. Well, Ron is a member of Alameda Tongue Twisters. His speech is from the Visionary Communication Path, Level 3, Using Descriptive Language. Ron Fitch. We only have bullies on our team. We only have bullies on our team. Ron Fitch.
Have you ever been bullied? Do you remember how that felt? Maybe you know somebody who was bullied. Maybe you were the bully. Fellow tongue twisters, last year, in the middle of a speech contest, I did a variation of this speech on bullying. In the speech, I tell the story of a meeting that we had at a company I used to work for, where we used to chant, "We only have winners on our team." Unfortunately, it didn't come out right. It came out as, "We only have bullies on our team. We only have bullies on our team." Uh-oh, I blew that, didn't I? Well, thinking about it earlier this year, I realized that was the truth. Everybody on that staff, except for me, was a bully. The president used to call me into his office after we would chant, "We only have winners on our team," and he would tear me to shreds. He would say, "Ron, you're a screw-up in the industry," although he didn't use the word screw-up. "You're lucky to be working for me." I should have said, "What do you mean working for you? You don't own the company." Now that's bullying. But let me tell you how it started. Back in high school, I was always bullied. On the way home, a bully blocked my way through the gate. So I outsmarted my bully. I took the long way around, only to encounter a whole new pack of bullies, and one of them was a girl. Oh, wow. Well, eventually a friend of mine who really didn't like to see me going through all I went through, he said, "I can fix that for you." His motto was, "Bully me once, bully me twice, bully me 3 times, pay the price." So he took care of it. And then a couple weeks later at school, I got a visit from a police detective at the Livermore Police Department. Now, today we have a new form of bullying. It's called the internet. You can be bullied by people that you don't know who live in countries you can't even pronounce. The bullies in our world today, we have bullies like that Vladimir Putin guy and that Kim Jong Ding Dong guy. What's with that? A long time ago, back in the day, bullies like Julius Caesar were assassinated publicly for bullying privately. 100+ years ago, the bullies in the corporate world were corporate lawyers. Let me tell you a story about a man named Edwin Armstrong. You don't know Edwin Armstrong, but it's thanks to him that we have AM radio, FM radio, and cell phones, because he patented a lot of ideas. RCA decided they're going to use his ideas and not pay him for it. So he sued him. And they dragged it out for years and years and years, because they had a big pack of bullies and he had a couple of lawyers. I'll tell you how that story turned out in a minute, but first I want you to know a few things about bullies. Bullies are cowards, bottom line. They use big words, or big lawyers. They threaten you because they know that you will give in. Here's the bottom line. Edwin Armstrong didn't give in. He kept on going. But it wasn't working in his favor. In 1952, his final lawsuit against RCA, the judge was ruling against him all the way. Didn't look like he was going to win. Now, this is a man with principle. So what do you do when you know that tomorrow you're going to lose in front of a judge? Well, you want to maintain your dignity and your pride. So you do what Edwin Armstrong did. You put on your coat, you put on your hat, and you jump out the window of your 13th-story apartment in New York City and kill yourself. The next day, the judge ruled on his behalf, and his estranged wife got all the money. Wow. Now, when we're bullied, we're hurting. We want to fix the hurt. I'm going to give you a secret tonight, how to fix that hurt. The word is forgiveness. 2,000 years ago, a man named Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," just before they put him to death. When you forgive somebody, you're not saying that you forgive them, that it's okay for what they did. You forgive them to get them off of your shoulders. When you see bullying, and if you're being bullied, don't hide it. Go public on it. Bullies don't like it public. So tonight, I declare my life to be a bully-free zone. The way to end bullying is to stand up and speak out. I'm inviting you all tonight to stand up and speak out against bullying. Who's with me? Mr. Host.
All right, Ron, what a fantastic message. Very moving. Tracy, could you give us your impression of the speech?
I'd love to. Ron, you had excellent pauses. You had excellent use of the stage area. You also had an excellent prop. But what was most excellent about your speech was your conclusion. Yes, forgiveness is a great answer to a lot of the world's sin, including bullying. One piece of constructive feedback would be to think about it the other way. At the beginning of your speech, you mentioned, well, maybe some of you were bullies. Well, I'd like to hear what you have to say for them too. On one hand, you need to forgive But maybe some people also need to be forgiven. Maybe they can reach out. Back to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Tracy. We'll hear more from you later in the show. Our second speaker is Michelle Peticolas, and Michelle is from Heart to Heart Toastmasters. Welcome to Toastmaster Time, Michelle.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, we appreciate you being here. You've been a Toastmaster for several years. Can you tell us what brought you to Toastmasters?
James Jeffley.
James Jeffley.
I came to Heart Toastmasters because somebody invited me to come. And I didn't think I needed Toastmasters because I was already a speaker. I've been giving speeches for like 15 years. So I looked at the people there and I said, they're not as good as me. What do I need Toastmasters for? But then I saw James Jeffley speak, and he blew me away. He was humorous, he was engaging, he used the stage, he was funny. And then Cynthia Stott gave him stretch goals. I was blown away. I said, I can learn something from this. I want to speak like him, and I want to give evaluations like her.
All right. Well, we can't wait to hear you speak. Are you ready to give your speech?
I am.
All right. Terrific. Well, if you go to the speaking area, I will introduce you, your message, and your title. Michelle is speaking from the Motivational Strategies path. It's a level 1 project, writing a speech with purpose. Michelle Peticolas, Winter Holiday Blues. Winter Holiday Blues, Michelle Peticolas.
Have you ever struggled with the winter holiday blues? Maybe you lost a job, or you moved across the country, or maybe you lost somebody who was really dear and near to you. Any one of those things could give you the winter holiday blues. I know, it happened to me. In 1998, I moved across the country, I left my job, and both my parents died in the same year. My winter holiday was starting to look like a winter nightmare. On top of that, my sister, the controlling sister, decided that the party was going to be at her house because she had the biggest house. But you know, usually her parties kind of degenerated into political shouting matches after a few drinks. So my husband and I, we decided we were going to go to his family for the holidays. And we arrived there, and they had the decorated Christmas tree. We had the exchange of gifts and the grand finale turkey dinner. But it didn't feel like Christmas to me. I was so bereft. I called my sister, the controlling sister, on the phone to get a little taste of that family party. But it was no good. I was not a happy camper. Since then, I have learned that the holiday blues are part and parcel of grieving after a significant loss. Not only the winter holidays, but all the holidays for your first year can be quite a challenge. But I've also learned, since working with hospice and being a grief and loss coach for over 20 years, that there are things that you can do about it. And I want to share with you 3 practices that you can use to turn your holiday blues into holiday love. Number 1, invite the elephant in the room to the table. People know that you're grieving, or probably do, but if you don't talk about it, they're not going to talk about it. They don't want to upset you. So I suggest that you tell a story, not about your grief, but about one of your holiday experiences that's uplifting, so that they understand how horrible your loss is. If I had done that, that would have made all the difference in the world. I might have actually started to bond with my new adopted family, and they would have understood what holiday meant for me. maybe they would have adopted some of my traditions. Number 2, be prepared. Have a plan, or else it isn't going to happen. You might want to ask your host if it's okay for you to tell a story, and then look through some pictures, watch some videos, come up with a quintessential story that expresses what your life was before your loss. And if I did that, that would have been fabulous. Maybe some of the other members of the party would have shared their stories, and we could have felt all cozy and authentic and fun. But of course, when you share those kind of stories, you might expect some emotions, which is number 3. Allow your emotions, but don't throw them all over the table. You might want to have an escape plan, somewhere to go and hide away so you can cry in private. You know, like a empty room, or maybe the downstairs bathroom, or maybe outside in the backyard. And then, one more tip. If you have emotions that are kind of overflowing you, and you just listen and feel the sensations, and don't listen to your head and your stories, then your emotions will actually release in 2 minutes or less. I know, I timed it. And if I had done that, I could have been real, authentic, more myself, and not pretended that I wasn't grieving. And we could have bonded and had a great time. So if you are struggling with the winter holiday blues, or you know somebody who is struggling with the winter holiday blues, remember these 3 points, these 3 ways to change it. 1, invite the elephant to the table. Number 2, be prepared. Be a Boy Scout. Make your plan. Ask for complicity with your hosts. And finally, allow your emotions. Emotions need to move, but have an escape plan. And then your holiday will be more loving, more supportive, more authentic, and a holiday you will remember forever. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, Michelle, for the great, timely message. Tracy, what was your impression of Michelle's speech?
My impression of Michelle's speech was that she was authentic and that she encouraged her audience to be authentic too during the holidays when they have some blues. Michelle had excellent vocabulary, excellent pauses, and she definitely used descriptive language. I like that she shared a personal story. It helped us to connect with her. And I also found it funny, interesting, and ironic how she ended up calling her sister because she missed her sister when she originally wanted to avoid her sister. For constructive feedback and a challenge, I would suggest pausing a little bit when she shared about the incidences that happened in the year that led to the holiday blues. She wants her audience to be authentic. Then pause yourself and be authentic and say, I was sad. Okay, back to you.
All right, well, thank you, Tracy, and I am pleased to introduce our third speaker, and that will be Jesse Lucas. Jesse, welcome to Toastmaster Time.
Thank you so very much.
Well, we appreciate you being here. You're a member of ARPB Toastmasters, is that correct?
That's correct.
What brought you to Toastmasters?
I was so shy. I mean, I was really, really shy. And I was scared to apply for jobs that required any kind of public talking. And a friend of mine actually dragged me to my first Toastmasters meeting, dragged me to my second Toastmasters meeting, and the third one I went by myself, and that was over 30 years ago.
Over 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. You've probably served in different roles in Toastmasters. What's your favorite role?
I love doing table topics, because that gives me an opportunity to bring out things that are of interest to me or things that are on the theme of the meeting and get people's feedback. I like that.
All right, terrific. And how have activities in Toastmasters helped you outside of Toastmasters?
Well, I've been able to advance quite a bit career-wise. And my last job, I was a college professor.
Oh.
So it has really gone from a real shy to making presentations every day.
All right, terrific. Are you ready to give your speech tonight?
I sure am.
All right, well, we'll let you get set up. I will introduce you, your project, and your title. Jesse Lucas is in the Dynamic Leadership Path, Level 3, Connect with your audience. Jesse Lucas, Colored Santa. Colored Santa, Jesse Lucas.
To my young viewers, back in the 1950s, black people or African Americans were called colored people. Now, I was a young person in those days, and my sister and I and Dad and Mom, we lived on a mansion in the maid's quarters. My mom was the maid and my dad was the gardener. My sister and I looked forward to Christmas, especially seeing Santa Claus. One year, though, Mother announced that this year we were going to go see the colored Santa. I said, no. We want to see the white Santa at the department store. Mother said, we're going to see the colored Santa and that's it. Hours later, I'm in the line to see the colored Santa. And I said to myself, what is a colored Santa doing in the North Pole? When it got our turn, my sister was on one side of Santa and I was on the other. And Santa said, what do you children want for Christmas? I said, well, my sister wants a colored doll and I want a truck. Whoa, said Santa. What do you poor, colored children need for Christmas? I looked over at my sister and I said, so that's how the colored Santas roll. I reached in my pocket and I pulled out my Christmas list and I said, here's the list. Well, the next day, I wasn't feeling real comfortable about that experience with the colored Santa. So, and I knew that my sister really wanted a colored doll. So, I got a brown marker and I went into the white part of the mansion, into their daughter's room, Mary Jo, and I painted the face on 3 of her dolls, figuring she'd give at least one of them to my sister. Hours later, Mary Jo comes home. Mama! 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 Her mother and my mother, the maid, came running. Mama, my dolls have become colored people. Well, Mother's scared that she might get fired over this. She said, hold on, I'll take care of this. Daughter, get your butt here right now. Yes, Mommy. Daughter, how did Mary Jo's dolls become colored people? My sister turned and she looked at the dolls with the brown faces. And then she turned and she looked at an angry mother. And then she raised her head to the heavens. It's a miracle. Several days later, it was Christmas. And we tore through our Christmas gifts. And we didn't get nothing that Santa Claus had given us. Nothing. And I turned to my sister and I said, See, that's what you get when you go to a colored Santa. There was a knock at the door, and it was Mrs. Meats who owned the mansion. Now that was odd because she never came to the maid's quarters, and she had a brown colored doll for Gwen. And I was waiting for my gift, and she pulled my mother aside. She said, Ellen, come here. She says, I know that Jesse Jr., who's me, eyesight is failing and he'll probably go blind, and that the county will not pay for the expensive operation he needs. So I'm going to pay for it. And I'm bringing an ophthalmologist from Chicago to give your son the operation he needs. About 2 weeks later, I went to the Children's Hospital for the surgery. And afterwards, I was in the recovery room. And they took the bandages off my eyes. And I opened my eyes. And I could see down the hallway. I could see detail on my parents' face that I'd never seen before. I could see colors that I never saw before. And my mother, she was sad. Oh, my baby could see. My baby could see. Oh, I'm so, Jesse Jr., what do you say now? What do you say now, Jesse Jr.? And I said, thank you, colored Santa. Back to you.
Thank you, Jesse, for that wonderful family story. Tracy, what is your impression of the speech?
My impression of the speech is that I'm nearly speechless, as I was so entertained. It was incredibly touching, incredibly personable, and quite miraculous. I like the contrast of talking about how you were at a mansion, only to mention that your parents were the maids, or the servants. I love the contrast of complaining about Santa, the colored Santa, and not being able to go to the white Santa at the department store, and not getting the things that you wanted and only the things that you needed, and being so disappointed on Christmas Day, only to have your sister get what she wanted, and for you to get probably more than you ever would have imagined to ask for and wanted. I think it also demonstrates a lot of kindness and a bridge between the ethnic groups, that the owner would pay for your surgery. So it was very moving.
All right. Well, thank you, Tracy, for 3 fantastic evaluations. And let's get to know you a little bit. What was it that brought you to Toastmasters?
Oh, I needed to improve my communication skills. I had taught Sunday school for a church for a while, and I was comfortable there. However, I got promoted at work to be an analytics manager and had to present data to leadership. I was scared. It was a very different position than talking to children when you're talking to, the director or the executive. So I needed to gain confidence.
All right. Well, terrific. Sounds like you've gotten a lot out of it, and we have had a fantastic show tonight. That's our show for tonight. We appreciate all of you who watch the show. We record in the San Francisco Bay Area. If you would like to know more about Toastmaster Time, please go to toastmastertime.com. Toastmaster Time is sponsored by District 57 Toastmasters. To find out more about District 57, please go to d57tm.org. And to find out more about Toastmasters in general, or to find a club near you, please go to toastmasters.org. We are grateful for the talented staff and volunteers at the Media Center in Palo Alto, and we appreciate our fine speakers tonight, Ron Fitch, Michelle Peticolas, and Jesse Lucas, and our incredible evaluator, Tracy Holmes. On behalf of all of us at Toastmaster Time, we encourage you to join Toastmasters and keep on talking.